Joining me now is one of the people who met with the president today, Republican representative from California, Congressman Brian Bilbray. You brought up a lot there that I want to address. Let's go point by point. First of all, on raising the debt ceiling, during the Bush years, you've got to acknowledge that there were a great number of times that you guys raised the debt ceiling, and it was all clean votes. It was never attached to spending cuts. So why the difference now? Why shouldn't we do it like we did before?
Well, because that is exactly why the Republicans were thrown out by the voters, and that's exactly what the voters have said. No more. We don't want you to be basically cranking up, and accepting more debt until until we straighten it out, until we prove it. They're basically saying we don't trust you guys anymore to do the right thing until you put it down, a plan that is not a bunch of smoke and mirrors. And this is Republicans and Democrats. This is not a partisan deal with the voters.
Here's the thing. Look, I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you saying that, during the Bush years you guys did it wrong, etc. But at the same time, doesn't it seem a little convenient that when you have a Republican president, nobody questions his budgets, and then you have a Democratic president, and all of a sudden, oh, no, we got to have spending cuts before we touch the debt ceiling?
And you're absolutely right. The fact is that's why the Republicans were thrown out, because they didn't do the fiscal oversight that the House was supposed to do. So you've got to just accept that the voters have the final say here. They threw the Republicans out because they did exactly what you said, and they will throw us out again if we don't stand up and say, look, fiscal responsibility is something we have to do. And they'll throw the president and Congress out.
Now, Congressman, here's the thing, right? So you say we got to balance the budget. I agree with you. I'm actually a fiscal conservative, right? And I have been all along. And I appreciated that Bill Clinton did well for reform. I appreciated that he balanced the budget along with a Republican Congress, right? Now, having said that, the question is how? How do you do it, right? Now, you guys say that, hey, we got to do Medicare reform. But at the same time, you talk about lowering taxes from 35% to 25% for the top brackets in that Ryan plan. Why, if we're trying to balance the budget, why on God's green earth would we cut taxes? That doesn't seem to make any sense. And it means that you have to do more Medicare cuts. I would never sign on to that.
Look, I think even you admit that we want a revenue neutral across the board. There are ways, if we lower the rates, and even the president says, take out some of the absurd parts of the tax. There's issues we can do that looks like a tax cut. And let me give you an example. Repatriation of $2 trillion of American money that could come back in the United States if we say, okay, bring it back for R&D, for manufacturing, for stimulating the economy, and we won't give a 35% hit. We'll give you a 5%. Now, on paper, that looks like a cut.
No way.
What do you mean, no way?
No, because, look, it's a 35% tax. Why are we going to lower it to 5%, give corporations this enormous tax cut, and then say to the American people, I'm going to cut your Medicare because I just gave a huge tax cut to the corporations?
It's not a cut for us because we're never going to be able to tax that money. That's what I'm saying.
No,
this is
here's
money
how you
that's
tax
overseas.
it. You pass a bill saying you need to repatriate that money right now. By the way, that's the rule for a lot of other countries.
No, you can't do that constitutionally.
Absolutely you can't.
Excuse me. We are the only country that does this, that taxes money coming back into their country.
That is not true, Congressman.
No,
that's not true. You could easily have a law that says, hey, listen, when you make the money abroad, you pay American taxes on it. You pay taxes on it in your home country, and whatever is extra, you pay taxes in America. There's no reason why you need to have this delay.
No, see, this is the point. That $2 trillion will never be taxed because the fact is they'll never bring it back in.
Because you guys don't want it to be taxed.
No. You can't be taxed right now. We can't tax constitutionally until it's brought into our terra firma. We got to bring it into our territorial. Not another nation does that. England doesn't do that. France doesn't do that. Germany doesn't do it. So what I'm just saying, let's move away. If you don't believe in bringing back American money for American jobs and you think that they may get something on that, fine. Let's just talk about this. We can do things that let's go across the board and say, take the subsidies out for farm subsidies. We can do that. Ethanol subsidy. I've been fighting ethanol subsidy since 1995, Cenk. I've been saying it was a sham. A lot of people who said they were on the left thought it was a good idea. People realize those are mistakes. Let's go correct those. I think we can get agreement on a lot of stuff.
When this goes to the heart of the issue, look, when you say, hey, let's take away subsidies, if you're talking about ethanol, you're talking about oil, I would love to take away those subsidies. I think they're nonsense. I think they're a redistribution of wealth to the richest companies and the richest agriculture concerns in the whole country, right? But the problem is you're saying, hey, I need to cut Medicare, so you pay 68% of the cost. You have no guaranteed benefits. You have none of the stuff that you're used to with Medicare, because I got to make sure the corporations only pay 5% on the taxes that they bring back in here. I got to make sure the top income bracket is lowered to 25%. And if the White House goes along with that, they are crazy. Nobody in America wants that.
If you think, look, first of all, let's be upfront about it. Nobody is talking about changing Medicare and Social Security for one senior. Not one. Not one person living today who's a senior is affected by any proposal that's on the table. The question is, what are we going to do about long-term commitments to people that are in their early 50s and younger, and how do we work out that arrangement? I'll tell you something. We can't talk to the... No. What we do is say, what's being proposed is, why don't we look at the health care plan that Congress has and work out an arrangement like that for the younger kids who are coming up. That way we can guarantee to seniors that they're not affected. We guys my age get to keep the system the way we want, but the younger guys are guaranteed they're going to have a program that's affordable past 2025. And it wasn't, it was the President's Commission that says that program is in. If you can't talk about working out something that's affordable for the younger generation, people who are in their 50s and 40s, if you're not, while you're still guaranteeing seniors are totally untouched by this situation, if we can't touch that, then that just shows you, and that's what the President's saying, we need to discuss this. The President's willing to discuss it, willing to work with us, and especially a program that guarantees seniors their Social Security and Medicare they have now, and talks to the younger generation that we're going to have a system that is sustainable for them, and the President and Congress is going to work this out. And we have to work it out before we move over, because the vote shows overwhelmingly there is no stomach for raising the debt limit without having this kind of reform part of it.
Congressman, we are totally out of time, so you get the last word. Thank you so much for joining us. Representative Brian Bilbray from California.
God bless you. Thanks a lot.